Hi there, I'm Nina, and I want to share a story about my family, kindness, and unexpected challenges. Growing up wasn't always easy for me, but I've always believed in lending a helping hand. You see, growing up, my family didn't have much. We always struggled to make it to the end of the month. I had two other siblings who were younger than me. As a result of my parents constantly being busy with work, I was responsible for my siblings. Living that close to poverty, I had developed this need to help those in need around me. So I studied hard and managed to build a life for myself. Since I was the first of the kids that started working, I wanted to make my siblings' lives easier. Every time I got paid, I sent money back home. This allowed my parents to not work so many tiring hours and spend time with my siblings. Finally, as my siblings reached the age where we were allowed to work, my family's situation improved. Because I wanted to send money back home, I made sure to pick up extra hours and work really hard. As a result, I managed to get promoted to the manager of my section. The position came with so many benefits and a good raise. Finally, I found myself actually relaxing and settling into living comfortably. Now that I finally had some time on my hands, I began to actively look out for a partner. I had never really had the time to think about things like relationships. Yeah, of course, I'd been on a bunch of dates, I'd had my first kiss and all that, but no one really wanted to be with someone who had no time for them, which I honestly wouldn't want either. Which is why I began to take dating seriously, now. I wanted to love and call someone mine. I signed myself up on some dating apps. Through one of those apps, I found this handsome man called Jake. Through his profile, I could honestly say that we seemed like we would make a perfect couple. Jake was a lawyer and had a very goofy sense of humour that reflected in all his pics. Honestly, that's exactly what I was looking for. I knew that I needed someone who could make me laugh when I was wound too tightly. We matched and carried out conversations via text every single day. Eventually, we decided to meet up for a date. That one date led to many more dates. My intuition about Jake was absolutely right. He was the perfect match for me. He had this way of making me laugh when I was upset, and he somehow always knew when I needed a hug to make me feel better about a bad day. That being said, he knew when to be serious and pursued his career very seriously. He worked really hard, and I saw it in the way that he always had stories to tell of the various cases he was working on and the praises he got for his work. I was proud that I was dating a man who was as amazing as Jake. It's for that reason that I said an enthusiastic yes to Jake when he proposed to me after 2 years of dating. We got married after a year of being engaged. It was a blissful ceremony where we were surrounded by our beloved family and friends. Since both of us lived on the opposite side of the country, we were meeting a lot of each other's family in person for the first time. The only family members we had met before were each other's parents, so it was a great opportunity to bond with each other's family during the wedding. It was during that reception that I properly met Jake's sister, Stacy. Stacy was 9 years younger than Jake. While everyone else accepted me warmly, Stacy was a little harder to win over. I had approached Stacy while I was sitting at a dinner table by myself. Hey Stacy, why aren't you out there dancing with everyone else? I don't really feel like it. This whole event is kind of lame. Is everything okay? Oh, everything's just peachy. I've got so much better things to do than be at this party. Okay, well, what is this something else you'd rather be doing? Well, if it weren't for you getting hitched to my special golden child of a brother, I could have been applying to universities and figuring out my own life. Oh, what's this against Jake? Seriously, have you seen the way everyone in your family worships the ground he walks on? The accomplishment, the praise, it's like I'm invisible. I'm somehow supposed to do everything on my own because that's how Jake did it. I get it. It's tough when others' successes seem to overshadow your own path. You do? Yeah, to some extent. But listen, no matter what, you deserve support and guidance. I'll help you find the best universities and figure things out. Really? You do that? Absolutely. If you're willing, we can spend more time together researching and planning. That sounds amazing. I can't believe you'd offer to help me, especially with all the expectations around Jake. You're your own person with your own dreams. I want to help you achieve them. Nobody should be left in the shadows. Thank you, Nina. Seriously, no one's ever been this supportive. It means a lot. You're welcome. I'll be here every step of the way, no matter what challenges come our way. Your journey matters just as much. The way Stacey looked so lost and sad tapped at my heart. I was reminded of my own siblings, so I wanted to help Stacey. After Jake and I enjoyed our honeymoon, I kept my word and helped Stacey find the best university for her. During this time, the two of us became very close. We became best friends and hung out even more often, considering Stacey's university was only an hour away. As the years passed, Stacey had found herself a boyfriend in college. Right after they graduated, Stacey and her boyfriend got engaged. Stacey came over to Jake and mine's place the weekend after she got engaged to break the news to me. She nervously told us that she had something important to tell us. Stacey, is everything all right? You seem really nervous.
Yeah, don't tell me you're pregnant now.
Seriously? No, I'm not pregnant, Jake. Oh, thank goodness. You guys really thought that?
Well, you did seem a bit anxious, and when you said you had something important to tell us, our minds jumped to the worst-case scenario.
You two, always assuming the worst.
Our bad.
Anyway, I wanted to share some good news with you. I'm engaged to my boyfriend and we're planning to elope. Oh, wow. Yeah, we were wondering if you could be our witnesses. Well, that's quite a surprise. Are you absolutely sure about this decision? Why wouldn't I be? You don't want to be our witnesses?
It's not that we don't want to support you, Stacey. It's just, well, you're quite young and getting married is a big step.
What's wrong with being young? Are you saying we're making a mistake? We're not saying you're making a mistake. We're just concerned because you're only 21. Life has so much more to offer and people change a lot in their 20s.
We want you to have the best chance at a successful and fulfilling marriage.
So you don't believe in us? You're not happy for me? That's not true. We care about you and want the best for you. We're just worried about rushing into something so serious.
Give yourself some more time. If your love is strong, waiting won't weaken it.
You know what? If you can't be happy for me, then I don't need your approval. I'll find someone else to be our witnesses. We're not trying to upset you. We just want you to make a decision that's best for both of you. Well, clearly you don't trust us to make our own decisions. I thought you'd be happy for me, but I guess I was wrong. Stacey, please don't leave like this. She stormed out of the house. Jake and I tried to call her and text her, but none of our calls or texts would go through. She had blocked us. We were beyond upset at the way that Stacey had treated us. Up until then, every time she did or said something rude, we chalked it up to her being a teenager who didn't know any better, but at that time, she was every bit an adult who knew what she was doing. For months, we kept trying to contact her in hopes that we would rekindle our relationship with her, but it didn't work. We found out through Jake's parents a couple of months later that not only had Stacey gotten married to her boyfriend, but she had also gotten pregnant. Jake was beyond upset that Stacey was holding such a stupid grudge against us for simply being caring. He was upset that his sister didn't come to tell him that he was going to be an uncle. I comforted him after the call with his parents. You know, Stacey's still quite young. Maybe she was just trying to get our support because we're the closest family she has.
I get that, but it feels incredibly hurtful that she didn't share something so important with me because of some silly grudge she's holding.
I know it's hurtful. She's like a sister to me, even if not by blood, but maybe she was just overwhelmed herself and didn't know how to approach it.
It's not about her not telling me, though. It's about feeling left out of her life.
I know, darling. It's a complicated situation, but remember, you're going to be an uncle. Once the stress of the pregnancy is over, she might change her approach.
I wish I could believe that. It's just hard to wrap my head around all of this.
I know it's hard. It's okay to feel hurt and confused. Let's just wait it out a bit longer. Once the baby comes, maybe things will shift.
I hope you're right. I want things to get better between us, but it's hard not to feel hurt.
We'll work through this together, just like we always do. Stacey's going through a lot too, and her emotions might be all over the place.
I know, but it feels like we're on the outside looking in.
We'll find our way back in. Family can be messy, but it's worth the effort to mend things. Within the next few months, Jake's parents told us that Stacey had given birth to a baby boy. Jake and I were overjoyed to hear the news. We couldn't believe that we were an uncle and aunt. We were still hurt that we couldn't visit Stacey, but we decided to give her some time to heal before going over to meet her. 2 weeks after Stacey gave birth, Jake's mother called Jake. Jake didn't pick up, so she called me. I picked up the call and was greeted by crying. I immediately recognized the voice. It was Stacey.
Nina, I don't know what to do. Everything's falling apart.
Stacey, are you okay? What happened?
My husband, he left us. He abandoned me and the baby.
What? Why would he do that?
He was scared of being a father. He just disappeared after a week of me giving birth. I thought he'd come back, but he never did.
Oh my God, Stacey. I can't imagine how hard that must be for you.
We went to bed together one night. The next morning, he wasn't there. That itself was weird because I was up at 6 a.m. to feed the baby and he usually didn't wake up till late. I waited the rest of the day for him to come back or reach out to me, but he never did. I tried contacting everyone, but no one knew where he was. He ignored my calls and texts. When I threatened to involve the police, he told me he wanted nothing to do with us.
I'm so sorry you're going through this. Are you in a safe place?
I'm at my mum's place right now, but I can't keep living here. I still have the place we rented, but I can't afford it on my own anymore. I don't know how I'll manage food for me and the baby.
Don't worry. I'll help you. We'll figure this out together.
I don't deserve your kindness. I treated you and Jake terribly, and now you're here for me.
You're my sister. Family. I don't want you to suffer. We'll get through this. We'll all make mistakes, and right now you need support.
I'm so sorry for how I acted before. I never should have treated you both like that.
We're here for you. People can change, and you're realizing your mistakes. We'll help you get back on your feet.
Thank you.
I really appreciate this. It's going to be okay. We'll take things step by step, and I promise you won't have to go through this alone. I don't know what I'd do without you. We're family. We'll face this together. From then on, I began to send Stacey $2,000 every month. It was a small dent in my and Jake's finances, but both of us wanted to help Stacey out. After all, she was family. Our arrangement went on for a year. In that year, Stacey had gone back to work. The extra money that Jake and I sent her helped her immensely. However, her gratitude slowly shifted to entitlement. Whenever I was just a little late to send her the money, Stacey would call me and demand that I send her the money immediately. Initially, Jake was very upset about it. He talked to me about it.
I'm starting to think Stacey's reverting to her old ways.
What do you mean?
It's like she's using us again. She's taking advantage of our help.
I get what you're saying, but we can't just abandon her, especially when she has a child to care for.
I know, but I wish she'd show some consideration, just a little gratitude.
I understand your frustration, but remember, I'm not planning to support her forever. I'm waiting for her to stand on her own feet again.
Thank God. I was worried this would go on forever.
We're doing what we can, but she needs to learn and grow too. We'll be there for her, but she has to meet us halfway.
Good, I like that.
Then, something unpredictable happened to me. While I was driving back home from work one day, my car got T-boned by a drunk driver. By the time the emergency services arrived, I had lost consciousness. I was lucky to survive, but I had suffered severe injuries. I was in a coma for a week, and when I came to, I was too weak to do anything. I was stuck in the hospital for a whole month before I was deemed fit to leave. I walked out of the hospital with a broken collarbone and a broken leg. I was just grateful to have survived. Jake was my rock during this time. He never left my side a single day that I was in the hospital. Even when I got back home, Jake refused to leave my side. I had to force him to sleep because he was too terrified to lose me again. I also forced him to go back to work. My company gave me time off and allowed me to work from home when I felt well enough to work. However, since I missed a month of work, I wasn't paid my full salary, so I wasn't able to send Stacey her allowance. Stacey had found out that I had gotten discharged a week after I had gotten discharged, so she called me.
Where's my money for last month?
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the payment you were supposed to send me. I'm due that money.
You know I was in a car accident, right?
I was in the hospital for a whole month.
Yeah, I know. That's why I gave you another week after you got out to pay me.
Are you serious? How entitled are you? Do you even know how much I've suffered in the past month? You don't know what suffering is. I have a baby to take care of. I can't afford to wait around for you to slack off on your responsibilities.
Stacey, I've been through hell. I wouldn't have been able to send you the money even if I wanted to. Excuses. You're just proving that you're not really family like I always knew.
Family is supposed to support each other in hard times, not demand money without understanding.
And then I hung up the call.
I couldn't believe the audacity that Stacey had to call and demand money.
I wasn't even entitled to help her. I was only helping her out of the goodness of my heart. I didn't mind any of Stacey's entitlement earlier, but to not have gotten any concern when I had almost died was beyond enraging. A couple of minutes after I cut the call, Stacey texted me saying that she had always known that I wasn't part of the family, and that me not sending her the money proved it. She then told me that she was going to show everyone my true colours and that I would live to regret my decision. When Jake got home from work that night, I told her about Stacey's calls and texts. Jake was furious. He couldn't stand Stacey's behaviour. He tried to call Stacey and shoo her out, but he quickly realised that he had been blocked. I was emotionally drained from the day, so I told Jake to just let it go. A couple of days later, I was rudely awakened from an afternoon nap by a phone call from my boss. She had told me that the company had received multiple tips stating that Nina had been financially abusing a family member and forcing them to stay at home. Now, this was a big violation of company policy because I worked for a company that worked for family welfare. I assured my boss that I wasn't doing anything of the sort. My boss told me that she needed to see proof that, until further notice, I was suspended from work. I didn't know what to think. Who could be spreading such stupid lies about me? In the middle of the crisis, my phone rang again, and this time it was Jake's mother. She yelled at me for treating Stacey poorly and neglecting her when she needed me the most. I couldn't even get a word in because as soon as she was done ranting, Jake's mother cut the call. This went on the entire day, where multiple family members either called or texted me to inform me of how disgusted they were with me. I managed to get a hold of Stacey. Stacey must have unblocked me. I tried to call her, but she didn't pick up, so I texted her. I asked Stacey if she had been spreading lies about me. Stacey replied that she told me that she would make me regret not sending her the money. I tried to angrily text her back, but realised that I had been blocked once again when my messages didn't go through. When Jake got back home, I showed him the text messages and filled him in on everything that happened that day.
I've had enough of Stacey's behaviour. I'm going to make her pay for all of this.
I know, Jake. Her lies have seriously hurt us. My job, our reputation with family, it's all at stake.
There's no stopping me now. I can't let her get away with this.
And I won't ask you to stop. I'm tired of her entitlement and manipulation. We've shown her nothing but kindness, and this is how she repays us?
Nina, I've been thinking, what if we take legal action? A defamation case against Stacey.
Absolutely. She needs to face the consequences of her actions. I'm with you on this, Jake. Let's do it.
It won't be easy, but it's the right thing to do. We'll get through this together.
We always do. Let's stand up for the truth and put an end to her lies once and for all. Over the next few weeks, Stacey was summoned to court for her case. She tried to text and call Jake and me, but this time we were the ones who blocked her. She tried to approach us during the trials, but we tactfully avoided her. In the end, the judge ordered Stacey to pay me $200,000 as settlement. Stacey broke down crying in the courthouse. I did feel bad. I knew that this was the only way for Stacey to learn from her mistakes. Stacey tried to spread more misinformation about Jake and me, but we had sent everyone the records of the case and informed them of what had happened. Nobody sided with Stacey, and in fact, many of them refused to be associated with her for fear that they would be mistreated by her too. I also sent the proof of my innocence to my company, which got me back to my job. Jake and I truly felt sorry that we had set Stacey back by a lot by suing her, but it was the only way for Stacey to learn. In the end, Stacey's action led to her own isolation and bad luck. Jake and I continued our journey together, bound by the lessons we had learned and the love that had always guided us. This incident showed us that even in the face of adversity, choosing kindness and standing up for the truth could lead to a brighter and more fulfilling future. Thank you for listening to me till the end.